Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the 0 Hour, episode number 8, and we are fresh off the heels of Aries 2, so we've got a lot of content coming your way. Quick rundown of what to expect this week. Of course, tonight we're going to be recapping Aries 2, and then Wednesday we'll be recording our usual episode. We'll do UFC recap. We'll do a look ahead at the Underground show coming up in Nashville next weekend, and probably get some interviews going with some of those guys. I'd like to get Dustin Ortiz on here and Charlie Alexander, a couple of those guys. So look forward to all that content here. Of course, I'm your host, Tim Loy. Tonight, a little hodgepodge of our usual cast, which means I am on the sticks tonight as the producer with Jeff Hobbs over here with his kid doing wrestling tonight. So we got Josh Cate on the panel. We got Justin Watson. We got Torres Finney. We're going to be recapping all of the action that we had at Aries 2 from the world famous Cotton Eye Joe. And it went down this past Friday night, November the 5th. And it was a great time. Before we get into all that, if you guys would do us a big favor, hit the like button out there. That's a big deal. And then subscribe. If you hit the notification bell, we're going to start posting the fights from Aries 2 this week right here. So if you subscribe, you'll get notifications every time we post content here. The fights from Aries 2 are going to be showing up here within the next few days. And then I guess we're about 2-3 weeks away from being at the 30-day mark where we can post the Pro-Am videos from Aries 1 on here. So you definitely want to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, if you would comment down there as well and let us know what you like, what you don't like, and help us get better here. Follow us at Aries Fights on Facebook, at Aries Fight Series on Instagram. Of course, show brought to you by Action 24/7. Use your promo code Aries and you get 100% match bonus up to $400 on your initial deposit. You can bet on some UFC. Maybe we'll give you some winners. Maybe we'll give you some losers Wednesday. Results may vary. Let's see. Let's go around here. Justin Watson, of course, you were there and in the house for Aries 2. We're going to do the rundown tonight. I'm going to give you a lot of the fights where we went to a decision there. It's kind of nice to hear the judges' standpoint on those. But more importantly, you're preparing for your own battle. You're only about a week and a half away from that professional debut at the Nashville Underground show, taking on Pat Crumpton. How's the training going? And, you ready to rock and roll, man? Big momentous step coming here in about a week and a half.
Yeah, man, I've been busting my ass, for the last month and a half, 2 months, getting ready for this, and can't wait, man. Can't get here fast enough.
And then, of course, we have got the Punisher, Torres Finney, in the house as well. Torres, fresh off his win of that 185 Aries title, getting ready for that pro debut. You were in the house calling the action with Josh Cate and Scott Holtzman this past weekend. Talk a little bit about the vibe there at the Joe and your experience there sitting in with those guys. That was I went back and watched the commentary. It was awesome. You guys were, between your energy, Josh's wit, and Scott's kind of technical breakdowns. That was real nice.
Yeah, man, it was awesome to be able to get in there with the knowledge of those two guys, with Josh and with Josh both and Scott. That was really fun to be on the commentary table with them. Brought a new vibe to it. The energy was there. And man, yes, the energy was there at the Joe, man. It was there like never before. I enjoyed. There was a lot of people to come. The first Aries show at the Cotton Eye Joe. We know the history there between them having MMA events, but man, with that being there, man, that was one of the best shows I've been to, especially me being there commentating. That was fun, man. And it's only going to grow to be better. I'm excited for the future of Aries there, especially at the Cotton Eye Joe. A lot of good fights, a lot of good things I saw in the card, so I can't wait.
And then, of course, for the first time joining us tonight, Hollywood Josh Cate in the house. Man, Josh, great to have you here on the show. Hopefully we can make this a regular thing. We do this shit all the time. And I'm excited to have you here, man. Josh Cate, of course, sat in on commentary for the first time in a long time this past weekend at Aries with Torres. Of course, Josh, longtime Knoxville coach, pioneer of the sport here in the area. Josh, tell us a little bit about what's been going on with you, man. What's been going on with Team Chaos, and talk a little bit about the experience being back on the mic here this past weekend at Aries.
Man, it was great to be back on the mic. It had been a few years being blackballed by some certain people. So it was really good to get back in there and put my energy back in it. What I've been doing the past couple of years is just building my gym. We're growing and growing. I'm the biggest I've ever been right now. I've got some talent that I've been breeding, and we're ready to bring them back to fight again, man. I can't wait. Hopefully we'll get them on the card in January. Got some killers, got some young blood, man. I'm looking forward to the resurgence of the chaos and taking back over.
Yeah, me as well, man. And, definitely excited to have you guys back in action, man. Brings a whole new flavor to the shows. And, you've turned out some good talent over the years. Now, you do some high school wrestling, so that's kind of a nice little pipeline to get that young talent.
Yeah, definitely. I coached last year. This year, there was some issues there, so I had to step away from it. But I'm still in close contact with all those kids from the wrestling team. I actually went out and worked with them a little bit at a tournament on Saturday. So still a connection with those guys, and hopefully, when wrestling season's over, they'll be back in the gym, and then when their high school career's over, get them in the MMA scene.
Great base, great foundation. These guys coming from that wrestling background, of course. Let's get into it, guys. We're going to recap the action from the Aries 2 card. We're going to go fight by fight. We'll go around the horn and kind of each guy will give their take on a fight as we go around here. Like I said, I'm going to go to Justin on most of our decisions just to kind of see where he arrived at those. Starting things off, of course, we had Combat BJJ match. It was Mack Paine taking out Dan Garrett with an armbar, 2 minutes and 26 seconds in. And, that was one of those matches where, we had a big age discrepancy here. Dan Garrett coming in at 52 literally could be the father, maybe grandfather for that matter, of Mack Paine at only 19, 20 years old. Mack Paine gets the armbar. Justin, your thoughts on this one? No judging needed on this one.
No, man, this was a fun one, though. Dan Garrett, like you said, being an older cat, he's in great shape. He brings it every time. There wasn't a ton of slapping going on in this one. Even though it was combat BJJ, but Mack Paine is a young stud, and he, from everything that I hear, all he does is jiu-jitsu. He sleeps and breathes it, and you can definitely tell that he's seasoned beyond his age for sure in there.
All right, moving on to our next bout. It was MMA, and this is a bit of a wild one here as Patrick Taylor gets the best of Bud Cook in a lightweight bout. Guillotine 1 minute 55 seconds in. Torres, man, Bud was very close to getting that first win. I don't think that he's ever been in a better situation to get that win. But Patrick Taylor kind of persevered and got the victory. What were your thoughts on this one?
You're talking about starting the night off with the first MMA fight. They both were about the same in skill level. Seeing Bud.
Oh, did we lose Torres? Torres, you froze up for a moment, Torres. You'll start over on that.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So, Bud Cook, man, it was this close. He was that close to getting that victory, man. And out of nowhere, he hit Patrick Taylor with that right hand. And I legit thought that Bud Cook was going to get his first win. I really did. But then, man, as time went on, Patrick Taylor jumped in. It was a really good fight standing up, man. I enjoyed both of those guys fighting. But, man, Patrick Taylor got the win. But Bud Cook, he's getting better. He's getting closer.
All right. From there, we switched it up and we went to Muay Thai action, and it was Harrison Reymond of Shield Systems getting the win over Justin Cruse in a 155-pound Muay Thai fight. Unanimous decision. This one was as Harrison got it 29-28. The first two rounds, I'm pretty sure, went to Harrison with Cruse coming on pretty solid in that third round after being hurt significantly. It seemed like in that first round, he kind of turned things around and got his composure a little bit under him. And Josh, let's go to you on this one here. You mentioned on commentary that you had remembered Harrison from wrestling.
Yeah, actually, my 160-pounder wrestled Harrison last year. And he was a tough kid then, so it was kind of cool to see him, post high school and carrying on with an MMA career. What probably will be an MMA career, doing his Muay Thai fight. But that was a tough fight. He came out and looked super solid at first, especially for a young guy. I mean, I guess he's probably 19 now.
Yeah.
And Justin Cruse, to me, looked like he was definitely second guess. He was a bit older. I believe he was in his 30s. Definitely looked like he was second guessing his fight career after the first round, but kind of settled into things and came back strong by the end of the fight. So it was really good to see that Harrison had to overcome some, maybe not so much adversity. I mean, he got cracked a few times, but a guy who wasn't just going to fold in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Harrison can do moving forward. Both of these guys doesn't matter, but Harrison being a young buck and their Shield Systems had a nice crowd with him there as well. So the sky's the limit for that kid. Let's see, moving on. We had another MMA bout. This one was the final preliminary bout of the night as Caleb Holt gets his first win as he knocks off Brian Hurlburt at 165-pound catchweight, gets a guillotine about a minute and 29 seconds in. We'll go to Justin on this one. You know Caleb Holt outside of the cage. Nice to see him get out there and get him a win.
Yeah, man, this is a fun one to watch. Just, Caleb's been around for the past year or so, just doing video and stuff, and we've seen him in there fight before, and he always gives it everything he has, but, to see him go out there and get a win was good. It seemed like Hurlburt didn't really want to stand up with him, took it to the ground, and Caleb, every time we see Caleb get taken down, he always goes straight to the guillotine, and he pulled it off on this one. It was good.
No doubt, Caleb Holt getting that first win, and I know he was happy to get that one. Torres, do we have you here? I can't tell. Are you there?
You hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't see you.
Oh, you don't see me?
Well, it's just really dark, but sometimes you just blend into those situations.
Man, I'm here. I'm really having some technical.
That's okay. We go audio. That's fine. Let's move on to this next one. This is going to be yours anyway. It was moving on after our intermission. We came back and we had light heavyweight action. Your teammate Joshua Booker gets the win over Shaka Burney with a first round TKO. About a minute 55 in, it looks like. Burney was a big, tough dude, but Booker showed good wrestling. I thought his ground and pound was very heavy, a little wild. I think that's one thing he probably needs to rein in is, kind of get some of that under control so he doesn't lose position against, as he progresses in his levels of opponent. But overall, very impressive debut by your teammate, Joshua Booker, sorry. Torres.
Yes.
You there? Did we lose Torres here? We may have. Well, I thought it was a good win by Joshua Booker. Burney, like I said, big guy, big athletic guy, came all the way from Lakeland, Florida. So hopefully we get to see him again, as he was certainly game. But Josh Booker, they've talking about him fighting at 185, and that could be there could be some very interesting matchups for Josh Booker at 185. Let's move on here to our next bout, as it was Andrew Murr getting the third round win over Patrick Brown, middleweight MMA action, verbal submission. This was a bit of a weird one. This is a really good fight, actually, up until this point. I thought that the first round, it was all Patrick Brown. I thought he was looking great. The striking was looking good. Second round, Murr started getting the takedowns. Brown started to slow down 1-1. I had it going to the third personally. And then there was a cut Patrick Brown was dealing with since the first round of the fight. And I guess it affected him to where he maybe kind of like waved things off, or that was how it was interpreted by the referee. They weren't happy with that interpretation, though. All the same, Andrew Murr gets the win, and it looked to me like he was on his way to winning that third round. Josh, what's your take on this one? A little bit of controversy there at the end.
Yeah, that was definitely a good fight, probably candidate for fight of the night. Both those guys came in, and like you said, Murr was he was handling it in the first round, and once Patrick Brown started getting those takedowns, started taking some of the life out of Murr. But as far as the finish goes, these guys, even the pro levels, you start complaining about an eye and you can't see or anything, they're going to stop the fight. So when you're in your first few fights as an amateur, I mean, you blink funny, they're probably going to stop the fight. So he might be mad about it, but you're an amateur. You're going to move on. That record gets erased when you turn pro anyway. So it's all about learning right now. And he's definitely going to learn not to complain about his eye unless he wants to lose a fight.
No doubt. I thought that was a nice showing, honestly, for both guys to be debuts, and I look forward to seeing both of them again. Moving on here, we had bantamweight action. It was Michael Miller taking on Kobe Ford. It was Michael Miller getting the win with TKO late into the second, about 2 minutes, 20 seconds into the first. I'm sorry, not the second round. Another chapter in this independent MMA versus a Gogi rivalry. But this time, independent MMA gets it done as Michael Miller gets that TKO win. Justin, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, man, for a one-round fight, it was super entertaining the whole time. Thought we were going to see flashbacks of Kobe Ford from his last fight. He gets the mounted guillotine and ultimately gets reversed and gets pounded out. But it was a great fight. Great showing by Michael Miller.
Absolutely. Moving on, we had more little guys coming up next, as it was Vincent Van Alstyne, vicious Vincent Van Alstyne, I should say, defeating Cody Ortiz, third round TKO about halfway in. That was at a catch weight of 130. Both these guys will be flyweights, I think, without a doubt. Josh, this is a fun one. Van Alstyne, he's a tough little motherfucker. He's a guy that's got some. He's got some potential, I think, in that 125 division. As Aries, he's just kind of getting started out. He's kind of a front runner, I think, there as a guy that probably going for the title sooner rather than later out of that Hobbs Jackson Wink team. Cody Ortiz, nice accounting for himself. He just, Van Alstyne is just it's a tough cookie for your MMA debut.
Yeah, absolutely. That was another, potential fight of the night candidate right there. And Vincent, he definitely impressed me. He kept pushing forward. Throwing strikes, getting the wrestling, all that stuff. And like you said, I do believe that he's going to be at 125 pounds and he's going to be something to deal with down there. He was very well-rounded. One of the guys that I was very impressed with, there was a few guys on the card that definitely put it all together that I was impressed with for how young they were in the sport. And he was one of them.
Tim, I got
definitely looking forward. Yes.
Who was that guy from Hawaii that won the previous 125 title, I believe?
No, that was Kyle Lindner. Kyle Lindner, is that who you're talking about? Yeah, he was from Connecticut.
It was he fought in NFC a few times. Dang it, I cannot think of his name.
Rodriguez. Freddie Rodriguez.
Yeah.
That kid's a killer. That kid's wrestling is so good. That would be a war right there.
That would be an epic fight between those two, man.
That would be epic for sure. I would definitely like to see that one. Let's see. Moving on here, guys. This is our final undercard bout, as it was Dustin Berry getting the win over Jorge Lomas. What ended up being a welterweight bout, essentially, originally scheduled for 155 and 60 and 65 and 70 when it was all said and done. But Dustin Berry looked good out there, got into winning his debut. And we'll go to Torres. This is your teammate here. And from talks, I don't know if you're privy to, but we may be getting to see a quick turnaround on Dustin Berry at the Underground next week.
Man, Dustin Berry looked good, man. I mean, his wrestling, we've seen it a lot in the gym, even with his guys, man. He's able to utilize his wrestling and get those takedowns early. Shown, I mean, his striking is starting to come along together really well with Dustin, man. And training, I mean, we just got done training today, man. He wants to do it. He wants to fight. He's that type of guy that, hey, throw me in there with anybody, I'm ready to go down. So he wants to fight, man. So, hey, he will probably be in that cage next weekend. So I'm excited for Dustin Berry, man. Incredible wrestler. And I mistakenly said something wrong on the broadcast. I said he went to my fault. He actually went to, I said he went to Alexander, but he actually went to, he did go to Alexander. I said he went to Luella. I said the wrong school, high school, but anyway, he's a phenomenal. Dustin Berry is a beast. I cannot wait to see the future.
And then, of course, we also know we'll see Jorge Lomas next week coming right back as he takes on Cody Tunget at the Underground. 0-2 versus 0-3. Somebody's always going to go, and that'll be a fun little scrap to open up the card. Let's see. We moved on to our main card after that, and business really like that middle portion was solid, but business really picked up in this portion of the card. I thought for sure. We opened things up. Eli Wilson taking on Dillon Vowell. Eli Wilson gets the split decision win. 29-28 two times, 28-29 the other way one time. Very good fight for debut amateurs. These guys were very polished, coming from good teams, Juggernaut Boxing and Ray Thompson's Upstate Karate. Eli Wilson edges this one out. Talking to Dillon Vowell's coaches afterward, they did not like that decision. It was super close. To me, I had it 1-1 going to the third. And watching it live, I thought maybe I did edge it to Eli, but watching it back, I thought Dillon may have stole it there at the end. I don't even know which way you went, Justin, but we'll let you go on this one. Explain what you saw out there, which way you went with it.
Yeah, so this was a hell of a fight too. We were talking about Josh mentioned fight of the night earlier. There was several that would have been could have been candidates for fight of the night. This was definitely one of them. I had a split decision, 1-1 going into the third round. I gave the third round to Eli. I thought he just had a little bit more push to him. His shots were landing a little bit cleaner. But like you say, it was a super close fight. I mean, when you get these split decisions that you're off by one round in one judge's eyes. I didn't know what to really expect out of Dillon Vowell. I didn't know much, hadn't seen him before, but obviously this is Eli's debut as well. But we know a lot about Upstate Karate. We've seen Weston, his brother, fight multiple times, and so I kind of had an idea of what to expect by Eli, but I was super impressed by Dillon Vowell as well. The kid brought it, and it was a hell of a fight, man.
Me too. I thought both those guys looked really good, and even in the loss for Dillon Vowell, it's very much a seasoned debut opponent, if you will. So even in a loss, I thought that was a good experience for him. He'll be a handful for a lot of motherfuckers coming up there. And both those guys talking about dropping to 155 as well. So that'll be interesting to see how that division kind of shakes out. Moving on from there, we had another of Torres's teammates as Richard Guerrero from Agogi Combatives takes out Robert Johnson, another Floridian that came up with Shaka Burney. Long ride up here for those guys. I hope we get to see them back. This is a catch weight of 180. Richard typically applies his trade at 170, but he moves to 3-0 here with a round one rear naked choke about 2 minutes in. Torres, your thoughts here? Richard Guerrero, with this win, before the main event even started, kind of put himself in the spot to be challenging the winner.
Yes. Richard Guerrero, my boy Richard, man, he got 3 straight wins all in the first round about rear naked choke. So that's really good on his part, man. Richard is really coming together along really well. Robert Johnson, he gave him a good fight early on, but I mean Richard's gonna be some of the problem, man. Like you said, we saw at the end of the show, man. He stepped to that cage and said, "Hey, I'm the next man in line for that 170 title," and rightfully so, man. It's 2 guys. As we will get to the main event, but it's crazy. I mean, all of Dustin Bailey's, all his fights, with a rear naked choke. All Richard Guerrero, all of his fights, with a rear naked choke. The rear naked choke king, who's going to finish it out on top? I'm excited to see if that's a future match between those two. The outcome. That's going to be a good fight. So hopefully Richard will be ready.
Okay, moving on. We had heavyweight action here, and it was Julian Golnes, the Black Cowboy, defending that home turf, the Cotton Eye Joe, as he taking on Hunter Campbell from over in Nashville, representing that Sioux Nation though of South Dakota. So we had Cowboys and Indians here, Native Americans, however you want to put it. Julian Golnes though gets the win in an Aries record time, a 17-second TKO in the first round, moves to 2-1. And Josh, man, this is first props to Hunter Campbell. That's a tough situation coming in. You know that Julian is a bouncer there at the club. You're going into what's obvious enemy territory there, so it's a tough spot. Same time, it's a lot of pressure on Julian Golnes because hell, man, he works at that club. You would take an ass whipping in the club that you're working in and supposed to be bouncing, right?
Yeah. that was, give it up to Hunter for stepping in there, but he just got blitzed. And once he got popped, he could just never recover. He did start off the fight like in the Matrix stance. So I don't know if that worked against him. He kind of brought on that onslaught, but hopefully he'll be back in there soon and he can recover from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And really interested to see what we do with Julian moving forward. He's one of these guys that, he's obviously got that death touch. He's got two knockouts in under 20 seconds. And I went back and watched the video and got some of the photos. There was a body shot that ended up breaking one of Hunter Campbell's ribs, he said. And I saw the picture of it, and he dug that motherfucker in there deep. So, hopefully he heals up quickly. Moving on to our next bout. It was another Muay Thai fight, this one featherweight division, as it was Joseph Hishmeh, the second representative from Shield Systems, going in there as he gets the split decision win over Jake Phillips. Really good fight, man, back and forth. This is another one. It was 29-28 on two judges' scorecards, 28-29 on the third judge's scorecard. Jake Phillips had won that IKF East Coast tournament, so a good win for Joseph Hishmeh, who moves to 3-1. And from what I've been hearing from his coach Ben Harrison just today, will be looking to make his MMA debut in January. Justin, you were one of the judges. How did you see this? Justin?
My bad. Josh muted me. That was a good fight, man. We've seen Jake Phillips in there quite a few times. He seems to get better and better every time. Joseph Hishmeh, just his striking is super clean. He pushes forward the whole time. He never backs down. And this is a super close fight. I gave it to Jake Phillips, but it was another one of those fights that could have gone either way. With a couple different shots that Jake might have missed that they would have landed, could have turned it around. It was that close of a fight, but. That was great to see them both. I can't wait to see both of them back in there again.
Definitely excited to see both those guys for sure. Let's see, moving on now. The next one is supposed to be for Torres, so I'm going to put you on the spot, Josh. Sorry. But we've got our feature bout up next, as it was Tristan Scarborough, light heavyweight action, defeating Josh Schlussler from down in Maryville with a big uppercut that dropped him and finished him off with strikes. TKO in the first round, a minute 24 seconds in. Tristan's a guy with a lot of experience, has been in there with some very, very, very tough guys. So a very tough debut for Josh Schlussler, who I actually thought accounted fairly well for himself, was relatively composed in there for an independent debut, Josh.
Yeah, so on Tristan's side of it, he was coming in off a 2-fight skid. So it's always interesting to see how someone tries to bounce back from that, if they can bounce back from that. The psychological side is always very interesting to me. And so he obviously did it. But like you said, Josh did come in very composed, coming in independent, 0-0. A lot of times those guys just come out swinging, but I thought he was very composed. And he's super fucking smart. And you know how I know that? Because he contacted me about training.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he's going to come down and spar with my heavyweight this weekend, and nice. Hopefully we'll get him some training.
Yeah, well, good for him, man. And I'm sure you could always use big bodies, and he looks like a guy that hopefully will be good training partner for everybody over there.
Absolutely.
All right, co-main event was up next, and we had hometown favorite Trip Hallman coming in on a 3-fight win streak here, but he got derailed here by Dustin Garrett, 4-4 coming into this fight. Now he gets above 500 again, moves to 5-4 with a rear naked choke at the halfway mark of round number 1. Man, Garrett kind of on paper coming in was known as like a kind of a scrambler, a wrestler, but he came with a Superman punch that really kind of just changed the whole course of the fight, because it didn't seem like Tripp ever really kind of recovered from that, was kind of reactive from that point on. But Garrett very quickly took advantage, got the rear naked choke, moved to 5-4, and I would imagine is going to be, looking to elevate on up the card and into potential title contention. A good win for Dustin Garrett. Josh, your take?
Yeah, That was a pretty cool fight. Two little guys in there, and like you said, once he landed that Superman punch, which I think at their height and weight we need to call it like a Mighty Mouse punch because they're really little dudes. They were listed at 6 feet. I mean, he's like 5'5" tops. You know?
Yeah, right.
Once he landed that shot, Tripp definitely never recovered, and he jumped on it, took advantage of it, and it seemed like a super good kid. Just really enjoying fighting and wanting to move on to the next step.
Absolutely. And then that next step for him, maybe a title fight. We did have a title up for grabs in our main event as it was Dustin Bailey defeating Jordan Lewis in the main event for the first ever Aries welterweight title. And, Jordan Lewis missed weight on this one. He wasn't eligible for the title. Dustin Bailey came in spot on, 170 on the nose. And, kind of coming into this had shown grappling, obviously, with all of his wins by submission, but having that rough and rowdy boxing background, he showed it early, drops Jordan Lewis, and was very opportunistic to just, he was all over his ass. He got that rear naked choke about a minute in, and finished this one just like he finished all the others. And coming into this, when we were doing the preview, I was like, I don't think he's going to be able to do that to Jordan Lewis. We're going to have to see if he can survive into the second, third, fourth rounds, which Jordan Lewis has shown he can do. And, can he get drug into deep water and perform? It didn't matter. No, he did the same thing he's done to everyone else. Jordan Lewis is a very tough cat. So, man, Dustin Bailey now lines up to fight Richard Guerrero in a battle of undefeated 3-0 guys here, I assume probably first of the year. That's going to be a really good one. Dustin Bailey looking very polished, showing striking, showing grappling, and obviously a prospect to watch. I'll go to both of you on this one. Justin first.
Yeah, man, I agree with you 100%. I thought that Jordan Lewis was going to definitely pose some problems, his durability being one and his striking being another. I thought, he was going to be able to touch Dustin Bailey a little bit, and we would be able to see what happened when Dustin faced that adversity. But like you said, man, just ran right through it. I mean, a minute and 8 seconds is not something you see happen to Jordan Lewis. And, I'm sure he was a little beat up from the day before, missing weight. And Dustin Bailey had already won the fight before the fight. And then he just came in there and sealed the deal in the main event, man. It was incredible. I can't wait to see the fight between him and Guerrero. And there's a few other guys that I'd love to see him in there with too. So can't wait to see what's going to happen in the future there.
Josh, Dustin Bailey definitely making a statement as, right now, one of the top 170 amateurs in the region, I've got to say.
Yeah, he looked really good, man. Surprised me the way he came out. I think he's 28, 29, something like that. And that was his third amateur fight. So, where does he go? How long does he stay amateur as he's a bit older, for starting his career out? So I'm interested to see where he goes with that. And as far as his match with Guerrero, both those guys come out, guns a-blazing right at first. So it's going to be interesting to see who can weather the storm and what happens to their psyche when a guy does weather the storm. Do they break down mentally? What happens? So that's going to be a super interesting fight.
No doubt. That's a good point, man. Neither one of these guys up to this point have had any pushback. I'm not saying no pushback, but what they've tried has always worked essentially. Yeah. And so, it'll be interesting to see like the first one of them that doesn't have success, how they react to that. I really like that take. Man, that was our main event. We'll wrap this thing up, guys. Before we get out of here, I'm gonna go to each of y'all. I want to know who your hottest who'd you come away most impressed with on the night? Who's the guy that kind of turns your head and is going to be someone that you're going to be keeping an eye out on a little bit more in the future? Josh, we will go with you first.
I think that there's really two.
Okay.
Van Alstyne. I think he's going to be something to watch out for, and Hishmeh. He was very surprising, really smart with his striking, changes levels, highs, lows, and all that stuff. Definitely showed experience, but beyond his number of fights and his age. So those two guys really stood out to me.
I like those. Justin, who stood out to you that night?
Yeah, I'll take a couple too. First, the low-hanging fruit, obviously, Dustin Bailey. We knew he was good, but this just took it to another level. Running through somebody that we have seen in tough predicaments before, we know can handle themselves. And the other one is Tristan Scarborough. We've seen him in there a lot, and we saw a lot of improvement, I think, this time. And I think he's just, getting a lot better every day. And we've got big things coming for him, I believe.
So, of course, we'll be back with Aries 3, January the 7th. That'll be a Pro-Am. We're going to have several weeks to build up to that, so stay tuned. We've already got a lot of badass fights kind of in the works. I tell you, some names like, obviously, we're going to have Josh's crew back in the house fighting. We've got Damir Fratmagovich lined up for this card. Greg Hopkins coming back on this card. It's possibly David Robbins on this card, and then a whole host of great amateur fights starting to shape up. So stay tuned. That'll be January the 7th from the world famous Cotton Eye Joe. Aries 3. You keep up with everything on our social media. You follow us on Facebook at Aries Fights, Instagram at Aries Fights Series. Once again, folks, we appreciate you for joining us here. We'll be back with another episode in another day or two as we do our typical episode with UFC Talk, and we start looking ahead to next week's Underground Nashville show as well. Really appreciate Josh and Justin for sitting in with us. Torres out in the internet. Don't know where he went, but I'm sure he'll be back next week. Thank you guys for joining us. Once again, please smash that like button. Give us a subscribe so you can know when the fights get posted up this week, and give us a comment as well. Till next week, I'm Tim Loy signing out for another edition of The 0 Hour.